To welcome you all here today. My name is, as it says on the board, Claire Barrett. If you look me up on social media, it'll be Claire Barrett Scape, because Scape is my married name, don't panic. I have been in real estate, it will be 5 years in February. I had the great fortune of working on an amazing team for 18 months. Where we achieved platinum status for Keller Williams International. I ended up running the buyer side of this team for about a year, and through that I started coaching and mentoring people, and I came across something called neuro-linguistic programming, which is absolutely amazing. I'll talk a little bit more about what that is and why I feel it's so great for business and just in life. Historically, people who know me know I used to work out of the Hamilton office. I went there to join the team that I was on, but now that I'm building my own team, in September of 2019, I actually moved back to Burlington, where I actually have lived for 25 years. So big changes going on there, very exciting. And that what we're going to talk about today, developing your why using neuro-linguistic programming, and the difference between a goal or your big why and an aim, is something that really fuels me, and Keller Williams Edge in Burlington was just better suited to achieving that for me. So we'll talk about that. So I'm going to send around a sheet. If you wouldn't mind just signing your name and your contact information, I would really appreciate it. I do like to follow up with people in the class, and anything we discussed today, very often I'll say, oh, I'll send you that. So we'll send it to you. Got one more? Oh. It happens every time. I need one more.
Yeah, we'll need a couple.
Oh,
I just need one more. I need one for me. Okay, thanks.
Why don't you take this one and I'll make copies.
Oh, thank you. So that's a little bit about me. Now, we're going to refer to a class that Keller Williams has today called BOLD a lot. It stands for Business Objective Life by Design. Who in the room has taken this class before?
this particular class?
No, just BOLD in general.
Oh, I thought it was you.
Yeah, you were on my team. Okay. So BOLD is essentially a class or a philosophy of how to generate business. But one of the mantras, they have these things called BOLD laws. And one of the biggest mantras of BOLD is be, do, have. They've now actually leveled it up. Now it's be, do, achieve. Okay? The majority of the classes you take at Keller Williams, they'll talk to you about what you need to do to be a great realtor. Would you agree? And just because I say this in every single one of my classes, and because I think it's a cornerstone of what we all need to know. As a realtor, what are the 5 things that we do? We have 5 jobs, and no cheating, Michael, because we talked about this morning. What are your 5 jobs as a realtor? Do you know?
Prospecting? I was just going to say one.
Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Does anybody know the rest of them?
Drinking wine.
Drinking water, absolutely, but that's not actually a job. Okay, so the 5 activities that actually generate income for us are, we lead generate, we lead follow-up. I'm going to give you time to write this down. Lead generate, lead follow-up. We go on appointments. We negotiate contracts. And we script and role play. Those are our 5 jobs. Those are our 20% activities that produce 80% of our results. Those are the things that if you're not doing those, you will not survive. You are not a realtor. You're somebody who designs business cards or design signs. Those are your 5 jobs. So when you're in this class, Business Objective Life by Design, we talk about the do. That's the do. Then we talk about the have or the achieve when we talk about our goals. So who knows what their goals are for 2020 in real estate? Yes?
Yeah.
What's your goal? Sorry, do you mind sharing what that is?
What goal do you want to know?
What, okay, so just Give me your elevator speech about what your goal is,
Well, GCI is 300.
okay?
That commits about 21 deals.
Fair? Oh my God, I love that. My average price point where I am is like so ridiculously low compared to yours. But go ahead. Anything else? That's it?
Oh, I got a ton of
No,
stuff.
no, so but this is typical. This is what we talk about when we talk about our goals. Would you agree?
Yes.
How many ends we want to do, how much money, right? We talk about our have. And it's really funny because I'm in this class, this old class, and this is the old version. The new version is really amped up. It's a little more in keeping with what we're talking about today. But in the old version, you do this vision board. Who here has a vision board? Yeah, okay. You're just A+ student.
I have it all here with me.
But a vision board, and what do we put on our vision board? A plane, because we want to travel. A car, because we want to drive a fancy car. All these things that we want to have, and that motivates us. Would you agree? Okay, so I've done this till I'm blue in the face. I'm 50 years old, and I have done this time and again. I'm going to get here, and I'm going to do it. Right now, I'm doing a marathon. If I didn't learn NLP, I would probably do a marathon and never run again. Okay? Because I did it. I reached it. And at Keller Williams, we talk so much about the do and we talk so much about the have. And through Keller Williams, I got exposed to neuro-linguistic programming, and it talks about the be. What do I want to be? Because, and you know, by being that person, it makes the do and the have easier. So when we derive our goals, so now I'm going to be pretty raw. I'm going to tell you what my goal is, okay? I developed this when I was getting some neuro-linguistic programming training. So, so I can tell you my goal is next year I want to do 58 ends for $500,000 in GCI. Okay, yeah, I got to do that many ends to make $500,000 in GCI. Thank you very much. I'm going to increase my price point from $525 on average to $652. I have it all calculated down. I know how many contacts I need to make a day in order to do that using my conversion rates. It is broken down to the letter. What is going to motivate me though? What is going to motivate me? So I went through a career where I would start something new, I would become the best of the best. I'd have a platinum medal, and then I'd slump. Has anybody ever experienced that? And we attribute it, typically we attribute it to the fact that we get busy doing other things, and that's the realtor trap. We have to lead generate every day. But what keeps you motivated to wake up every day and still go back and lead generate even when you have 5 listings going? And it's about the be. Far more motivating. So I have this goal. I want to do, like I said, 58 ends. I want to do $500,000 in GCI. But this is the one that I came up with when I went through this program through values elicitation. So this is my goal now. I call it an aim, okay? I wake up at 6 a.m. with that warm feeling of my brilliance radiating through my torso. I know it sounds hokey, I'm not like a hokey person either, so just bear with me. I'm calm knowing that I can handle everything the day has in store. As I wash my face, my reflection in the mirror displays the gratitude I feel for the, I can't read my own writing, choices I have created, the systems, models, and leverage I have in place allow me to travel 2 weeks every quarter for my fix of adventure. The business is run out of a building I own. I prefer that to the market center because it's like a second home for those I am surrounded by, and the environment reflects us. We have a mastermind room with sofas and TVs, tables, and the walls are covered with the free-flowing ideas we love to share. So it's longer, but do you get what I'm saying? So the do and the have, we always say that it's going to fuel who I'm going to be. But what if who we are is what fuels what we do and we have instead? Why are we going to limit what we believe we can be? Precipitating doing and having. Okay? So I would go through this period and I'd say, okay, well, I'm going to be the best realtor that there is. I get a medal. And I'm kind of like, okay, done it. Now it's motivating me. So I'm training for a marathon. I literally set up a virtual race where I'm gonna end up getting a medal every 3 months to keep me motivated. Right? So how can we get out of this? We need to find what our goals are, what our aim is versus our goal, or versus our why. Who has a big why? I bet you do, don't you? Okay, glad you're good one. So when we talk about a why, we talk about it like it's a bullseye, right? We want to hit there. We're here, we're going to take steps, and we're going to hit here. It's a finite thing. So I want you to think of it differently. So this is the analogy I was given, so I'm going to use it, and I apologize, I don't know the names of the islands and everything. The person who taught me this, he lives in Hawaii. So back what? Yeah, okay. Kona.
Yeah.
So back in the day, historically, you know, the natives of Hawaii, they would get in their longboat and they would be on their island and they would want to get to the big island, right? And they'd get in their boat. This is my waves. And there's my boat. And there's the paddle and here's the guy. Like not a drawer, and I'm okay with that. And they would get in their boat, and at a certain time of night, they would find a star up in the sky, okay? And they would point their boat towards that star. And they knew if they paddled straight, even when the sun rose and the star was no longer visible, they would hit the mainland. That's how they did it, okay? So right now with a why or a goal, it's like shooting darts, so we want to hit the target. But think of it this way instead. What if instead the star was our aim? And the island were individual big milestone goals, and paddling straight, that was the do. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is everybody getting the analogy here? So here's the thing. You're paddling towards the star, you hit your goals as a result, but do you ever reach the star?
No.
Do you ever paddle to the star? No, you don't. And here's the thing, I want to be this person. Am I ever 100% there? I'm not. So what if we flip it, where your motivation comes from something that you are always working on? And it is not about your do or your have, it's about who you want to be. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. If you look on the sheet here, where is it? Oh, what did I do with it? So let's just take a quick look at step 2 for a second. So we talk about values, beliefs, and attitudes. Okay? And there's a very big difference. Limiting beliefs that we have, or our belief that we can do something, is a conviction that we hold true, right? But it's an external conviction that we hold true. I know how to drive a car. Well, what if under certain circumstances I don't know how to drive a car? Or what if you have me a stick shift? I don't know how to drive a stick shift, right? So, but they're beliefs that we believe to hold true. Attitudes are a collection of those beliefs. So do I have a positive attitude? Well, that's a collection of all these beliefs. But your values are it's something, it's that gut feeling that you have. It's who you are in your core, and those do not change over time. That is the core of who you are. Do you guys understand the difference? Okay. So the idea is that you're going to elicit your values, what is actually important to you. Not your beliefs, not I believe blondes have more fun, or not I believe that the person who drives the fancy. We're going to elicit what is you actually value inside. Instead of saying I'm going to do so many ends, because the ends is a means to money, and the money is actually a means to being able to fulfill your value system. If we build your aim which is it is constantly developing around your value system, you will no longer do this. Because you'll never 100% achieve it. You'll always just want to be a better person. Have you seen out in Hamilton, a lot of people are doing that Be the Change? Keller Williams Be the Change. It's about, and then this is what I like about Keller Williams, because it's all, a lot of it is about giving back to your community and everything else. That speaks to my value system. That speaks to my value system, right? And I conduct my business accordingly to that value system. So we're going to talk about a listing of values. So everybody understand the difference between your aim and your goal, or your why? Yes?
Can you give an example of what an aim would be? Like, I want to be the best person I can be, or is it something more?
Well, okay, so
Specific.
when I did my values elicitation, I actually came up with a word.
Okay,
My word is brilliance,
okay.
okay? So for me, for whatever reason, everything boils down to the energy that is radiated in a room. And it's different for everybody, okay? Now, the funny thing is your subconscious mind actually thinks in pictures. Your subconscious mind doesn't think in words, it thinks in pictures. So for me, it's actually a picture. It's actually, I can feel it. And again, I'm not a hokey person. I know this sounds hokey, but I can feel it. So for me, what I'm doing right now, listen, I love doing real estate. This, though, when I'm dealing with a client, I deal with them this way as well. I'm not here to do something to them. I'm here to do something along with them so I can guide them down a path. That's the way I conduct my business, okay? Because the value of being brilliant, the value of the energy that I put into a room is the cornerstone of everything that I do. So if I'm in an environment where that energy is very dark and negative, I either remove myself from it because it's just not where I want to be, or I try to collaborate with people to try and bring it up. For other people, it's different things. For some people, it can be, you know, everyone has different, I can't assume to nobody else's, but what if somebody is a very outdoorsy person and you get to the values of what that outdoorsy activity means to them, and what it really means is freshness and freedom and the crispness of and it's not the air necessarily, it's just that that's how they envision their life. Unencumbered and, you know, whatever that means for them. Does that make sense?
So the aim is aspirational, who
Yeah.
you want to be and
Who you
how
wanna
you
be.
want to be.
Yeah, who you want to be. It's easy if you can boil it down to a word, really, because it helps you to climb up, like grab onto something. But for the most part, it's just a really, you know, the majority of realtors, and you have to be very careful, right? Because in the English language is just a series of labels, right? Everybody who's in real estate or is an entrepreneur will say, well, I do it for the freedom. Yeah, giggle over there. I do it for the freedom. Well, what does freedom mean to you? Right? What does freedom mean to you? Freedom means something different for everybody. So what is the value behind that? For me, freedom is adventure. And that brilliance. Right? It's different. You've gotta, it's a very personal thing. But if I wake up every morning and I say, I am totally motivated, I'm gonna do 58 ends, I'm gonna get a medal, that thing rocks, and then I do the 58 ends and I get the medal, what am I gonna do next? But if I wake up every morning and I read that little paragraph about where I wanna be in my life, who I wanna be in my life, wow, that's pretty powerful. And I had a huge aha when I was at the first step of Bold. I have always dreamed of opening a book bank for children in Hamilton. Toronto has one, it's such a great organization, it really is. And I've always held back. I don't think that, I screw up too. I always hold back because I say, when I get this and when I get that and when I get that. And I'm sitting here talking to this guy who I've never met before, and we're running through the Bold activity, and I look at him and I go, what if I will have a great real estate business because I'm being the person that opens a book bank? I just flipped the switch, and I swear to God, like literally, it was instantaneous, and I could actually feel inside something changed. So I wrote down 3 action items I could take in the next week to start looking at doing a book bank, and I did them within 36 hours. I'm gonna open a book bank. And there's no question about it. It's not a matter of I'm gonna try or I'm going to do. I truly believe it's done because I changed my programming somehow in that instant. It just clicked. I get asked all the time, I worked on the team, I get asked all the time, how did I sell an apartment building? I sold an apartment building in my first year of real estate. It's not a very common thing for a residential realtor. And within the first 2 years, I think I sold 6 of them. One of them is as big as 32 units. And I went into my team leader one day and I said, I was very purposeful, I wanted to increase my price point. People ask me all the time, how did you do it? I said, I walked in and I looked at Mark and I said, I want to sell an apartment building. He said, okay, go do it. And I went, okay. And literally because I knew, to me, I had done it, all of a sudden it opened up my eyes to the possibilities. They're all there, guys. You could be $1 million producer. You could be $1 million. Each person in this room is capable of being $1 million producer. You just have to be it.
Be it.
Be it. And the largest part of being it is not having the limiting beliefs around it. Okay, so let's get back to this. So step 1. The first step you're gonna do is you're gonna figure out what your focus is. Now, we're all realtors in the room. We're in your office, so you're all probably here for your career. But you can do this values elicitation for other aspects of your life as well. So career, family, spirituality, fitness and nutrition, relationships, personal growth and development. So this is something that I did when at 50 years old, I nearly passed out walking across Carleton campus when my kids were on a tour, and I said, I'm gonna get healthy. So I picked the thing that I identified as being healthy, that I was least capable of doing, which was running. And I ran for 1 minute. And then I wrote with a window writer on my window, and you can come and check my car, it's still there, I am a runner. Because I was being a healthy person. And then it changes, right? So you pick it out, write out a paragraph of what your goal, what your aim is. So just, well, not your aim, but loosely what your focus is. So step 2 is why do you want this using the values elicitation? So we've already gone through this. What is a value versus a belief or an attitude? Okay. When you get to the part, we'll turn the page and we get to the part, you're gonna ask yourself these questions and you're gonna come up with money. No. If it is a checklist item, it is not a value. If you can check it off, not a value. So you need to dig deeper. Have you guys ever heard the term, three deep when you're talking to clients? 3 deep? Okay. Why do you want to move? I want to move because my house is too big. Okay. What does it mean to have a smaller house to you? Okay, so 1, 2 deep. Well, it means less housework. Okay, what does less housework mean for you? Well, less housework means I have more time. Great. What would you do with that time? I would spend more time at the art center, creating pottery and painting. I love it. Okay, so tell me, what do you get from doing pottery and painting? I feel inspired. Fantastic. So tell me, when do you want to sell your house so you can start being inspired in life? Okay, tell me that doesn't resonate with somebody more than I want to downsize my house.
That's hard to ask.
Because you're actually, no. What's important about that? If you have a hard time with scripting, just what's important about that to you? What's important about that to you? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? They will come up with it. They really will.
But scripting, all we were using was exactly what they said and forming it into a question.
Just what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Great. How does that make you feel? What will that do for you? What's important about that to you? Alex Powell, who's one of the best listing agents I have ever met in my entire life, because I'm a high I talk a lot, that's another reason why I like being up here. He challenged me to go through a listing presentation only asking questions. Okay, so 3D. So your value solicitation, same thing, you're going 3D. I want money. Okay, great. What's important about money to you? Well, you know, get a big bank account. Okay, and what are you gonna do with that big bank account? Oh, I'm gonna travel. Super, super. And what does traveling give to your life? How does it add value to your life? Oh, well, you know, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so what makes traveling fun for you? I love adventure. Okay, now is adventure a checkbox? Can you check adventure off? I like adventure. It's a way of being, right? So you're gonna go deep on these. Just remember when you're going through this exercise, go deep. So we're just gonna talk it through first, and then you guys can do it on your own, or I'll give you a few minutes. So the standard elicitation is what's important to you about, so career. What's important to you about career? And they're gonna give you a list of things. And you're gonna write it down 3 times on a blank piece of paper. 3 times. Sorry, you're gonna write everyone out on a blank piece of paper. But you're gonna ask this question 3 times. Because no different than the client, you gotta really dig deep with people to understand them. Okay? So you're gonna 3 times. And they're gonna go, oh, I don't know, I can't think of anything else. Well, if you could think of something else, what would it be?
I use that on my teenager.
Yeah.
Well, he did know.
Exactly. If you did know, what would it be? So you're gonna go 3 times. You're gonna empty out the bucket 3 times. They say, I can't think of anything more. And you go, okay, great. So before we move on, I'm gonna ask you again, what is important to you about your career? Well, I just told you. I know you just told me, but just fresh eyes, look at it again. Well, you know, and you'll get some repeat words, and that's fine. There's no right or wrong to this. Then you're gonna ask them about their motivation. Now, here's the thing about our values. We have values, and then we have when they pop up in our life, and we aren't even aware that that's what's happening, right? It's like, I love to eat. Go to the fridge, but I'm not hungry, but I wanna eat. Why do I wanna eat? Well, usually it's because a value I have of comfort is not being fulfilled and I'm filling it with food. It's just me. So we're going to ask them about their motivation. So can you remember a time when you were totally motivated in the context of your career? Okay, stop. You'll see them go like this. You'll see their body language and you'll be like, oh, yeah, okay. Sometimes they'll go, I can't think of it. And just say, just take a breath, close your eyes, picture a moment in your mind when you were totally motivated in your career. Okay? Let them get the picture. And can you remember a specific time? I know. And then you say, as you remember that time, what was the last thing you felt just before you were totally motivated? Not the motivation, the feeling you had just before. Now this is really interesting because it uncovers, like I said, why do I go to the fridge to comfort eat? Because I'm uncomfortable, or because I'm sad, or because I'm whatever. If you can pinpoint that feeling, you know what their trigger is to being motivated. So me, right? Hang a medal in front of me, and it's like waving a red flag in front of a bull. It really is. Again, I'm a high I. Okay, so when I decided to take up running, what did I do? I set myself up where I could get a medal every 3 months. I created my own motivation. And this is what we're doing. Now, the medal isn't the motivation, the value behind the medal is the motivation. So the value behind the medal, for me, is competency. I like to know that I'm competent. And medals affirm my competency. Making sense? Okay, so when is an occasion in your career where you felt totally motivated, and what was your feeling just before that? So for me, medal, competence, and I just go like gangbusters. Okay, different for everybody. So as you remember that time, what was the last thing you felt just before you were totally motivated? Can you give me the name of that feeling? A lot of people aren't going to be able to name it. They're going to go, I don't know what it was, I just kind of felt this feeling. Like if you have something that you're scared, I had this really sick feeling in my stomach. Okay, can you name that feeling? Sickly, whatever, fear. So if the word though is given too low a level, ask what's important about that to you. When they say a low level, when people talk, you can hear the charge in their voice, right? So if you talk to me about, I don't know, somebody's trying to get me to do a triathlon, I go swimming. But if you talk to me about running, I'm like, running! You can hear it in their voice. You could ask them outright, but if it's a charge that's really, really low, you want to have something that they're actually really passionate about. Because if they say what really motivates me in career, and they go, oh, I love cold calling. Probably not the charge you're looking for. They're saying probably what they think they need to say. They're not saying what is truly their values. They're expressing the value, the beliefs that they've taken on because of their surroundings. Do any of you guys have or want to share something that really motivates you and what that feeling is just beforehand? It's okay if you don't worry. Okay. Now you go through steps A and D, A to D on this standard on the motivation strategy until you start getting repeat words. Okay, so go back. Remember that time again. What was the feeling beforehand? Again, you're digging really deep. We are trained. When I say, how are you? What do you say? Exactly. Everybody is going to give you that answer, guys. You've got to keep going back to them. And with your clients as well. What do you want from the sale of your home? The most amount of money. It's what you're always going to hear. The most amount of money. Okay, what does that most amount of money mean for you? Okay, so when you're doing this, keep going back. When you start getting repeat words, go on to the next one, threshold values. Okay, so here's the thing. My son is very happy to do his chores and empty the dishwasher out so long as it's not his video game time. He has a threshold. So you're going to push the boundaries of that threshold. So you do that when you're talking to a buyer about pricing a house, don't you? My budget is X. Well, let me ask you, particularly when there's multiple offers, right? All of a sudden, X is X plus. Right? You're going to push that threshold. And I'd say you should do that with your buyers. Well, what if I found you a house that was $50,000 more, but it had this? And it had this, sorry. And it had this. Would you be interested? Push their thresholds. That's a thing that we do to keep our mindset. It's yeah, it's the bold bracelet. It's this class. I'm not gonna get it. I know. Self-flagellation is terrible. So we're gonna do the threshold. So, and again, you can use this with your clients. But look at the list you have so far. Say all these values being present. Is there anything that could happen that could make you leave? Okay, so I came to Keller Williams because I truly believed that their value system was in keeping with mine. It made me feel comfortable. It made me feel like I could be the best person I wanted to be. Is there anything that could happen that would make you leave? Can't think of anything, but I'm sure there's something. It's not in my imagination. All these values being present, plus the one you mentioned, what would have to happen such that would make you stay? And you keep going back and forward like that, stay, leave, stay, leave, stay, leave, until you start getting repeat words again. So, my son is quite happy to empty the dishwasher, provided it's not video game time, However, if I paid him $20, he'd empty the dishwasher. But he wouldn't empty the dishwasher if it was video game, $20, and he was talking to his friends on the phone. Do you get what I'm saying? Back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. Again, to just push the thresholds of your values. Make sure they're very clear. So now you have a page with words on them. That's mine. That's more than one page. Those are all mine for career. Okay? Just to give you some examples, self-directed, limitless potential, variety, recognition, medals, money, growth, accomplishment, competence, intellectual, competition, learning-based, generational, strategic, fulfilling, collaborative, culture, choices, mentoring, clarity, be myself, evolving, quality, sphere, reputation, challenge, confidence, faith, milestones, connections, all sorts of things. Okay? So those are your values. Now the funny thing is, and this is the next step, the first value you come out with isn't hardly ever the most important one. It's really funny how that works. So now you're going to rank them. You're going to rank them. If you have 100, you're probably not going to rank 100. I'd probably say you'll rank 20 to 25 of them. So you say, so you can say to somebody, just rank them. But if they're having a hard time, say, okay, what's most important? And they'll say, well, that one's most important. And then you'll say, okay, how do you know? Well, you're going to say, what's next most important? Just get them to rank them properly. Okay? So you rewrite the list of values, and on the off chance, again, you're going to go through it and you're going to see checklist items, or you're going to see things that you're not quite sure of or they're kind of waffling on. All you have to do is say, how do you know when you're confident? Well, I stand taller, you know, really get the charge behind that so that they can actually trigger that feeling to some respect. Now, the funny thing is what you want to have is you want to have your top 10 values be towards items. And again, this is important. Up until about 3 years ago, I was very much an away from motivated person. And this is what I mean. When I say competence, it wasn't about becoming competent, it was about not being incompetent. Do you get what I'm saying? And the difference is that as soon as I had proved myself that I was not incompetent, I lost motivation. It's an away from charge. So, do I want to be self-assured, or do I not want to be scared? Do you get what I'm saying? So in that value system, if you're in your top 5 items, they're away from, you need to reframe it with them. And you need to replace the vocabulary. So for those of you who haven't taken the BOLD class or are not Keller Williams, one of the big things that they do is they say to replace the word but and try, which is why you saw me ping my thing. Why? Because I say, I love your hair, but what does it do? It negates everything beforehand. So it's simply a matter of training yourself on what words you use, because those words have a label, right? But negates everything before, and doesn't. It compounds. So you're looking to, if you do a visual of it, but goes like this, and goes like this. Okay? So if your charges of your value systems are all away froms, I don't want to be scared, I don't want to be incompetent, I don't want to be those, simply turn it around on yourself. And here's the trick. Your subconscious mind does not process the word not. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
You're not ugly. Claire, you're not ugly, you're beautiful. What does my subconscious mind hear?
You're right.
Ugly. Just the word ugly.
I don't.
I don't want to be incompetent. What does my subconscious mind hear? Incompetent. And that is the programming, that is the self-talk you don't even know you're doing. Simply because of your language patterns. I can tell when somebody's not a confident person because of the words they choose. I am very deliberate with my words. Okay? When I say daily affirmations, I don't say, I am going to be great today, because it implies I'm not great. Right? Seriously, how often do we do it? Right? If somebody says, I don't say I'm working towards, I don't say, you know, I'm moving away from being, okay, so now I'm going to be really raw. I have a hard time closing, believe it or not. I'm an extremely assertive person, but for some reason closing baffles me. So I have very specific scripts that I stick to. I don't waver from them. Trying to be brave to get the objection, because I'll avoid the objection at all costs. So I've been using this script, and what happens, I say to I pull up my script, I go, so now that we've gone over the price, the commission, and the marketing plan as we had planned, let me ask you, do you believe Barrett Realty Advantage is the best team to get you the highest price possible when you sell your home? And I'm waiting for the objection, and the lady goes, yes. And I died. I was like, what? What? Okay, so it's a matter of changing where you're away from, right? So when I go in and do my affirmations, I don't say I'm going to close. I say I'm a closer. The apartment building, I didn't say, when I left that, I said, I want to sell an apartment building. He said, okay, go do it. And I went, all right, done. It wasn't a how, it wasn't a what do I have to do, it doesn't want what I need, it's I'm gonna, and it wasn't about who I had to be. You already are that person, you guys. You already are. Everybody is. It's just a matter of whether you have programmed yourself to allow that to flourish to the top. So if your values elicitation are away from simply reprogram yourself using different language. Okay? For those of you who knew me before, I used to have a skin on my computer, and it used to say, I used to sit in Starbucks a lot before I had an office, and it'd say, ask me about real estate on the front, but if you looked at the skin on the inside, it said, I'm a real estate queen. And on the other side, it says, are you doing your 5 jobs? If you look at my rankings, I think I do exceptionally well, because that's what I'm going to tell myself every day, because I do, but I do better because I tell myself that every day. Who here says affirmations every day?
Not every day, but I try.
5-minute journal. My operations manager got me that journal. It's amazing. Changed my life. I didn't realize how little gratitude I had. Great journal. Anyway, okay, so you're going to change the charge around those things, you're going to reframe it, and you're going to practice that on a daily basis. You're going to use those words. You're going to eliminate certain words from your vocabulary. You're going to reframe things. It's not that you're not going to be, it's not that you're going to not be not incompetent, it's that you're going to be competent. I think I said that right. Etc. Any questions around that? Yeah.
So we've spent a lifetime molding who we are,
Yeah.
okay? And now we're, you know, we're 50 and
Yep.
we're all these ages. Is there anything that you could say to someone like myself or anybody else on how to begin to change who we are to the point of who we want to be, you know,
Excellent
who we
question.
truly want to be?
Excellent question. It is surprisingly a lot easier than you think it is. Okay? So again, in this Business Objective Life by Design class, bold, and you know what, anywhere that you go, bold is snippets of some of the best works of a lot of people as well. Okay? There's this thing, so your programming leads to your thoughts lead to your feelings lead to your actions, and your actions lead to your results. okay? So, and actually one of the best bull coaches I ever had, Peter Pacetto, he said something once, you can't control your first reaction, but you can control your second. For those of you who were a year earlier, you heard me mention my mother, okay? My mother just needs to speak, and I'm pissed. Literally. I'm already agitated. So I go to neuro-linguistic programming, and we do this values elicitation program. We do a couple of other exercises, and one of the things that they said is you can actually insert into your subconscious programming something different. So what I did was, and you have to understand, like your initial reaction, what is it? It's your programming, right?
Yeah.
It's your programming, it's your initial reaction. What if you can change that? And you literally can change it 5 minutes. And I'm really not kidding, and I will give you an example. I'm a living example. So here's a great thing. Our programming is a culmination of our neurons in our brain. Can we agree with that? Okay, it's our neurons in our brain. So when you're walking along and you stub your toe, and your toe hurts, why does it hurt? Because your neurons tell you you're hurt. Can we agree? Yeah. Okay. It takes you how long from the time you stub your toe until you feel the hurt?
I've already said the F word.
Yeah, you can say it in front of me. I'm sorry for everybody else, but I'm a totally inappropriate person, so. So like literally, you're like stub it and it's instantaneous. And that is a reaction because of your neurons in your brain. Why can't your neurons change so you don't feel the pain just as fast? Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get it? Okay, so you were programmed, sometimes something only has happened to you once, and you're now programmed. But why can't you reverse that program just as quickly? You can. So here's a good example. Okay, so in my health thing, I had a McFlurry addiction. I'm not kidding. I could not drive past McDonald's where I didn't eat a McFlurry. I was significantly heavier than I am now. I had no filter for it whatsoever. So I go to this NLP class, and I'm not suggesting that you do this to get rid of the food addiction, okay? There's other ways of doing it, but this is an example of how effective this is. So I go to this NLP class. I'm obviously a very expressive person. So when they went to go and do an example, they chose me. And it was to get rid of a food that you no longer wanted to eat. So I'm like, McFlurries. No, please understand, you can't do this to somebody, you have to do it with them. You can't convince somebody who doesn't want to give up McFlurries to give up McFlurries. Okay? So I go up on stage, your subconscious mind thinks in pictures. So he says, okay, Claire, I want you to bring up a picture of a McFlurry. I said, bring up a picture of McFlurry. I'm thinking of it in my head. Doesn't mean dry. Bring it, think in my head. He goes, where is the picture in your mind? I go, it's right here. Is it crisp or is it blurry? Very crisp. Is it bright? Is it black and white? He goes through all the modalities. Is it framed? Is it associated? Are you in the picture, not in the picture? What are the emotions that you're feeling when you think about it? All these descriptors. And so I bring up this picture of McFlurry. And he had tested beforehand, I had a very negative charge to liver. So he says, okay, so he wipes the slate clean, kind of like when you're having a fancy dinner, and something that cleans your palate. So he wipes the slate clean. Strangely enough, he says, can you smell popcorn? That's the way we do it. And I'd say, no, I can't smell popcorn. And he'd go, okay, now I want you to bring up the picture of liver. So he brings up a picture of liver. I'm just, like literally, I'm thinking of liver and I'm gagging. And so he asks me the same questions. Where's the picture? What does it look like? What's, all the same questions. And he says, okay, do you smell popcorn? No. So then he says, okay, I want you to bring up the picture of the McFlurry again. I said, okay. Brings up the picture of the McFlurry again. He says, okay, now I want you, and he starts asking me to see the picture of the McFlurry, but with the modalities of the liver. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if the picture of the McFlurry was here, the liver picture was down here, so he moves it down. The liver picture, I was in the picture, I was a young child. I can see the pajamas I was wearing. It was a 1970s picture, so it kind of was yellowed, and it had a frame around it. Like, I had a very vivid picture of it, right? So he's replacing it. And he does this little exercise. It took him 5 minutes? 5 minutes. Because he's talking to my subconscious mind using pictures. So unbeknownst to me, they sent somebody into the kitchen who made a mock McFlurry. They took soft ice cream and they put M&Ms in it, and it had the colors swirling away. And see, I'm having this, can you see it? I'm having the same reaction in my throat as I do when I talk about liver. Okay? And they bring it up and I start gagging. I'm like, I was like, get it away. And all they did was they took the emotional effect of that picture by using the modalities and placed it on the McFlurry. So I'm really not kidding you, I have not had a McFlurry in 3 years. It took me 2 years to eat soft ice cream. And that was only because I really love it. I found I logically worked my way around it. But I've seen people do this. They can do it for people who want to quit smoking. They can do it for anything. There are different things that you can do for different issues. So when you say who you want to be about changing your programming, it literally can be instantaneous. If you go through it, some of us can do it on their, okay, does anybody here know Mark Loeffler out of Signature? Okay, Mark can literally do it just by saying that's what he's going to do. He has complete control over his programming. I've never seen anything like it. But every once in a while it happens to me. I'm going to sell an apartment building. It was just who I was. In that moment, I said it and it was who I was. I ran a minute, now I'm running a marathon. I was a runner from that moment. But there are exercises that you can do with a qualified person who can help you with those things. So my mother, I did an exercise where my mother opens her mouth, and my first reaction is, does she really mean to upset me? And I don't actually think it, it's just a subconscious thing. So there is a way, actually, to not only control your second thought, but control your first. Now, as far as your business goes and your why, or your aim, whatever you want to call it, I always say, I use the analogy, it is the difference. If you can figure out what your aim is, who you really want to be, if you can get a hold of that narrative like I have, and read that and feel just juiced for every day, it is the difference when you're doing your 5 jobs between pushing the rock up the hill and rolling the rock down the hill. You still move the rock the same distance. But if you can fundamentally be the person and have that programming, it makes it a lot less effort. Do you get what I'm saying? Does that answer your question a little bit?
Yeah.
Where can you take NLP here?
I can only tell you about my experience. I can't tell you about other experiences. I gotta be honest, like the majority of Keller Williams and the majority of leadership classes are actually steeped in NLP. Mm-hmm. Tony Robbins is NLP. Mm-hmm. Hugely NLP. Okay, but if you want to learn how to actually do it, I did it through an organization called the Empowerment Partnership. They come to Toronto for a weekend event. Very inexpensive. I think it's like $199 for 4 days. Wow. And now it's just the introductory part, but it definitely puts you on a path. Then I went and did a 2-week course in California to actually get my master practitioner, although I don't practice as much as I should. Those people actually, when I took the master prac in California in 2018, there were 22 Keller Williams people of the 100 in the room. Because to be a MAPS transformational coach, that is the prerequisite. Okay? So when your coach looks at you and says, and you go, oh, I just don't know what's going on with this listing presentation, and they go, what if you did? It's NLP. When you go through the 4 quadrants, present positive, present present negative, future positive, that's NLP. Okay? All that's doing is talking to your subconscious mind. Do you want me to give you a good trick with buyers? That's NLP based? Okay. Because I rock buyers, and again, it's, so if I have a buyer and they're in a house, and they're like a high C or S personality, and they're just having a really hard time, like, we know this is the house, right? Have you ever seen it where you know it's a house and you get to the front? So I have, again, really strict scripts. Every single house I show, at the end, we boil it down to one. So you like this one best before, now we've seen this one, between the two, which one do you like best? Because they only ever hold on to one house. And at the end of every single showing, I say, so do you like this house enough that you want to put an offer in on this house right now? And that's all in my buyer consult at the beginning. They know I'm going to do it. So it's not something I'm doing to them, I'm not forcing them, they just know that that's my habit. And I've told them the value in doing that. So you go through the house and they love this house and they're absolutely, they're just like gobsmacked, and then you get them to the front door and you come out with your questions. Yes, we like this one way better. And you say, so do you like this house enough that you want to put an offer in on this house? And especially in your market where there's competing, like you gotta move, right?
Yeah.
And they waffle. They waffle. And they go, we'd like to think about it. It's a big thing. But you up until you asked that question, they were there. They just had cold feet. So, what is your subconscious mind thinking?
Pictures.
So the husbands usually look at me like I'm crazy. I'll say, okay, I just want you to close your eyes for a second. And they'll look at me and I go, you gotta trust me, just trust me. And they'll close their eyes. And I'll say, okay, I want you to think of a year from now. And you're sitting in your living room. And I've done my Ford, I know family, occupation, recreation, dreams. So I bring up all these realities that I know in their life. The kids are playing, the dogs are playing. You just come in from a really great walk, the fire's roaring, your feet are up, you're having a cold beer, you're having a glass of wine, whatever it is, I know about them. And your shoulders drop, and you think, God, this is home, this is great. This is fantastic. And then I go, is this the house? Because they're thinking their way out of it. But their values are actually underneath that. So if I can pull up a picture and get to their values of what really is important about a house, because let's be honest, we'd all live in Buckingham Palace so we could afford it, right? If I can dig down to their values, I can find out if that house is actually expressing their values more than anything. And again, you can't do this to someone, you do it for them. If it's not the right house, respect that it's not the right house. But more often than not, I'll use it when I know it's really a matter of, we're gonna buy a house. And it gets to the core values and it thinks in a picture. And for what it's worth, again, they're thinking negative words, they're negative speaking. We can't afford it. We this and this and this and this and this and this, and I'm gonna talk in, you're comfortable, you're happy, kids are at a safe school, the this and the this and the this, that the house has, to just balance it out a little bit. Because every time, really, for high S personality, high C personality, it really does calm them down. It gets them there a little bit better. You talk to a high S personality about all the attributes of something, you're just going to freak them the hell out. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. So NLP, the Empowerment Partnership, Transformational Coaching, it's awesome. But there are some really great books out there as well.
I have a question.
Yeah, right ahead.
So I just found it interesting how you talked about who you are with your buyers and who you are with your sellers, and how you rock your buyers and you're not afraid to do all of that at the end, but when you're in a listing presentation,
Well, you're gonna kill me here. Because I have a significant limiting belief that I'm grappling with. I'm working on it, but it's taking me a little while. So I actually have, I have a neurolinguistic programming, there's a thing you can do called mental and emotional release. It's about 12 minutes, and I voice recorded myself doing it, and I listen to it every morning. So it's funny you say, so buyers, I can I convert my operations manager, she can't believe it. I'll go, I need money, and I'll go out and I'll convert 5 buyers and they all close in 3 weeks. And I'll do it in a couple of weeks. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But
Did you
there
teach
is.
a course on that, please?
What?
Did you teach a course on that?
But honestly, no, you know what? I am. It's about the bee. I never had an issue with buyers. I know I rock it. You know what I have a hard time with sellers? Because I'm the kind of person where I want to be 100% there for you, and as soon as they're paying me, I feel like it puts it across the table instead of on the same side of the table. And I have a hard time. So recently, my conversion rate significantly increased, and you know what it was? Because somebody gave me a statistic. I sell houses faster and for more money than 99% of my board. 99% of the board. Average days on market, and so again, you will go to my car, you're welcome to come. I have a window writer, and it's written on the window of my car. Because I haven't taken the time to actually program myself with this. It wouldn't be hard, but I haven't taken the time.
Why wouldn't you? Like, that's like-
Sorry.
I know.
Sorry to ask that then. I just
No, it's
noticed
fine.
the difference between.
No, it's, yeah, no, absolutely. Did you notice my energy and my,
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't get your car detailed in.
What's that?
Don't get your car detailed.
The window writers are my new thing. I got window writers on Amazon just before Christmas. In my office, my whole window is just window writers. It's terrible. I'm 5.
It's an American.
I'm 5. No, I'm 5. Metals and window writers. It's just, anyway. So in terms of the programming, like if you're, like I said, it doesn't always work. You have to be in the right headspace. I haven't been able to get over my listing thing, but it was really easy for me to get over apartments. It was really easy for me to get over running. It's really easy for me to get over a lot of things. Sometimes the programming, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty firmly entrenched. So it takes something else a little bit to shake it up. But the important part here is, to get back to the topic, so your aim versus your aim versus a big why. It's really about figuring out who you want to be in the context of what you're working on. If you want to stay motivated, right? And think of what it's best if you have a visual picture of that. So my brilliance, my energy is a sun for me. I saw the sun set on the West Coast for the first time in my life when I was learning, when I was figuring out who I wanted to be, and it just stuck. So who do you want to be? If you want to be somebody who's really, really giving, right? I don't know. Maybe it's, for me, giving would be hands reaching out and helping somebody. If you want to be somebody who is really, really smart, I don't know, like, what does that look like for you? But it will keep you motivated. You won't go through this. Right? Because who doesn't want to be the best version of themselves every day? I came home from this class and immediately sat down with my operations manager and wrote out our standards, and none of our standards is about production. All of our standards is about who you're going to be. 100%. But to know that you can actually control that first reaction is life-changing. You can. You can stub your toe and feel it right away. You can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a $1 million producer, and go out and do $1 million in GCI. The only thing that's stopping you is the filters that you have in you. It allows you to see those things or not. Any questions?
Sorry, you were going to recommend a couple of books?
Oh, wow, okay. Simon Sinek, start with why, is an excellent one. But I want you to note that, he uses the word why. So a perfect example he talks about is Apple computers. So Apple's computers, it's not a why actually, it's a B. Steve Jobs wanted to be a disruptor. That's not a why, that's a B. It's not a checklist item, right? Elon Musk, if you've read Elon Musk's biography, which I highly recommend, it's absolutely fascinating. He's an off-the-scale disruptor. All he wants to do is take traditional businesses and turn them on their heads. That's what he lives for. So that's why he does what he does with such intensity. So Simon Sinek, start with why, very good. All of his books are good, but that's a good one to do with this. If you actually want to go through the process of reprogramming yourself, or at least releasing a lot of negative baggage. So remember, your programming leads to your thoughts, leads to your feelings, leads to your actions, leads to your results, right? So when we think of something, it comes in our brain. This is your conscious mind. And then it goes through a filter into your subconscious mind. I think I have it the right way around. Okay? So your filter is all the beliefs and attitudes that you've developed over the years. Okay? So what if your beliefs and attitudes are very towards the negative, it's going to filter out all the information that it chooses to see. So if you say you can't sell an apartment building, it's going to filter out all the opportunities in the world that you have to sell an apartment building. If you want to be generous, all you're going to hear is all the reasons why you can't start a book bank. Okay? So if you want to change this filter, there's a book called Mental and Emotional Release by Dr. What's his name? No, it won't be there. It's the guy who actually does the Empowerment Partnership. Oh my God, why am I pulling a blank?
What's it called?
It's just called Mental and Emotional Release.
Matt James.
Matt James, thank you. Dr. Matt James. There's that one. The main people who develop neuro-linguistic programming, Dr. Bandler, B-A-N-D-L-E-R, and Dr. Dwyer. I'm listening to one of Dr. Dwyer is very steeped in Catholicism, so you kind of have to take the spirituality away from it.
Is that Wayne Dwyer?
Yeah. You're gonna have to take the spirituality aspect out of it if you're not, or just like I'm not Catholic, but I believe in a higher being. So I just turn that word into whatever works for me. Those are very good. What else? If you're gonna do it in the context of coaching, there's a book called Coactive Coaching. I went to coaching skills camp, which if any of you are going to mentor people, or if you just want to be a great parent, actually. Coactive Coaching, coaching skills camp is amazing, but I read Coactive Coaching when I used to run the buyer team. And that was actually my first exposure to neuro-linguistic programming that was actually acknowledged.
Is the coaching skills camp part of KW?
Yeah,
We just had it.
yeah. Yeah, for the first time ever, we had it in Canada.
Yeah.
But it won't be Diana anymore, so I'm not quite sure what it's gonna be.
Right,
But I've done it twice.
sure.
Like that's the thing, guys, in your business, in your life, in general. Okay, so talk about smart goals. Okay, so when you're writing your goals after you figure out what your aim is, right? It's all well and good to say that I'm gonna be the best person and I'm gonna create brilliance and everything else, but you actually have to set a goal for it. Like this guy does not get to the island by floating. He's gotta have step-by-step action plans. So you wanna make SMART goals. We all know, if you don't know what SMART goals are, SMART is specific and simple, it's on your sheet, specific and simple, measurable and meaningful to you, as if now, so achievable and in all areas of your life. Do you think you are truly a giving person if you give financially but you don't give emotionally? Not really, right? Am I truly a brilliant person? Am I truly creating my brilliance if I'm brilliant in work, but I'm not brilliant when I get home to my kids? No, I'm just faking it somewhere. So all areas of your life, realistic, responsible, and ecological. So here's the thing. You cannot, a cornerstone of Keller Williams, a cornerstone of neurolinguistic programming is you cannot take from somebody and be your best self. It's gotta be a win-win. I know we say win-win like it's a race, but it's not. Like, one of my standards is that the team that I'm on, I look at it as I'm not gonna worry about who I am so much, because who I am is gonna be derived by making everybody in my sphere better. Does that make sense to you?
One more time?
I want brilliance in my life, right? That's my value.
Yep.
So my do is not about me being brilliant. It is about giving brilliance to everybody in my sphere. And in doing so, that makes me better. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it can't be, well, I'm gonna be brilliant because I'm gonna suck all the energy out of you. Okay? I am not the best listing agent because I undercut somebody else. I'm the best listing agent because I am being the best listing agent, irrelevant of what else. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So they have to be ecological, they have to be times and toward what you want. This is something I really love for goal setting. I'm gonna run a marathon October 25th, 2020, that's actually my target. Versus, I am going to be moving towards a healthier lifestyle at all times. So, one of them, well, it is.
Yeah, the running
It's
is-
totally
yeah,
measurable.
Yeah, marathon.
It's totally measurable. However,
For time.
I like to write goals in a way where they're not as yes or no. Because again, as soon as I achieve it, like literally, if that were my goal, I would run a marathon and stop running. Right?
Yeah.
So a marathon is my stepping stone, my goal, the marathon is the do and the mainland, but my aim is to live my life healthy at all times. So is the marathon my focus? Yes. But it is simply a stepping stone towards my true aim. Does that make sense? Okay? So when you're setting your aim, it's, yes, you have, the SMART goals are components of it, but the aim is not time bound. Should always be getting better. Okay? Again, a little bit about the charge. What you're not to face is in dealing with your baggage. Facing the future is in your goal setting. So I don't want to be incompetent is facing your baggage. Let it go. How are you going to change your programming if that's what you're facing all the time? So I don't want to not be incompetent. My goal, my aim is to be competent. You cannot let go of baggage if you're focused on what you're not doing. Okay? Action plan, so I'm going to open a book bank. I wrote down 3 steps. I took it within 24 hours. Do you know that if you take one action item towards a goal within 24 hours of writing the goal down, you are like more than 70% more likely to achieve the goal?
If you write it down.
No, if you take one action item within 24 hours
Okay.
of writing it down.
So what was your action item?
I had 3 actually. So I reached out through Keller Williams. I reached out through real estate hacks asking if anybody had ever set up a not-for-profit. And I've booked a conference call with Jennifer Holmes out of Barrett, who has been running a not-for-profit for 10 years, a week on Friday. I reached out to the Toronto Book Bank because why reinvent the wheel? They've already done it. So I've reached out to them asking them to contact me and tell me how I can get started. And then I also reached out with a friend of mine who works at the City of Hamilton in the business development department, but I know her, she's a friend. So I asked her to put me in touch with somebody at the city who could talk to me about getting grant money from the city.
How much money do you need?
I haven't figured that out yet. I'm
You
thinking,
can go to the
I'm thinking probably about 600,000 to 700,000.
Wow.
I need a building.
Oh. Can you get one cheap for him?
Not anymore.
No.
Not anymore. Okay, so and last but not least, you have to have flexibility on the path. Okay? So, I want to be the best person that I can be. I want to be brilliant. And I wake up one morning and I have a honking headache and my teenager is I just lose my crap. Okay? Is that in keeping with my aim? No. Do I give up on it though? No. So what do I do with it? What do I do with a day like that? How do I salvage that day? So, okay, so my listing presentation, okay? I have a plan, guys, I'm getting over this. 2.5 flipping years in this thing. I'm getting over it. So I developed a plan this week with my coach. I wrote down all the different things that I was gonna do to become, I wrote down a plan to show the world how incredible I am at listings. Okay? So, what is one of the components that I did? So I go to a listing and I don't get it. Okay, is that indicative of how great I am at listings? I don't get it. Not by our standards. Okay, so what do I do with that so I can reframe it and it is in keeping with me being an incredible listing agent? What can I do?
Find out why you didn't get it.
Exactly.
You gotta ask, I guess.
Journal it.
Yeah.
So I have an action item now that every time I don't get a listing presentation, I have to sit down and I have to write down 2 things that I can do better next time. I have to learn from the failures. That's where the flexibility comes in.
But do you ask?
Yes, I do.
Good.
I do. They don't usually like to answer though. But, okay, so I have to figure out, again, my goals are not about I'm gonna be the best listing agent ever, I am constantly moving towards this thing of being great. That's why an aim is so wonderful, because you can take it a step back, or you can have a bad day and still be on track. You don't get demoralized as easily. So I can sit there and say, I can take a bad situation and I can say, what did I learn from it? So my operations manager knows, just the same as you can't control your first thought, but you can control your second, even though you know now you can control your first. I don't have a problem if someone makes a mistake. I have a problem if somebody doesn't learn from it. And my operations manager knows that. She knows that. So she'll make a mistake and she thinks I'm going to be mad at her, and I'll say, okay, what did you learn from it? And so long as I see the effort going into the growth, I don't care. I'm not perfect. Far from it. So, okay? Any questions, guys? Because we're kind of wrapping up here. It's sort of all over the map.
I have a question. I actually was out of the room when you started. And when you were talking, when we were going through the first couple pages of the exercises, is that really an exercise to have conversation with yourself to go through it?
You
Because you
can.
were kind of talking,
Yeah, no,
like, is there a
absolutely.
group thing?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yep. Listen, if you can have a conversation with yourself without saying anything just because of the choices that you use in terms of words, having a deliberate conversation is even better. I would really challenge you, like, really take a look at and this is not to do with this, but really take a look at the words that you use. It is shocking,
The words you
Right.
speak are the house you live in, right?
huh?
The words you speak are the house you live in?
Yes, or, so in bold, we say, your, what is it? Your thoughts, your cells eavesdrop on your thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
So again, my healthy, in my head, I was a fat person. That's just, those were my thoughts. So yeah, I could starve and not lose any weight because of my head. Like it's self-fulfilling. Have any of you guys ever Googled that video on YouTube about the water molecules? Right, where they play the music and they have different words and the water
Plays.
molecules, they look absolutely horrible and they look absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
totally determined by the words. Okay, so think of it this way, and again, this is what they teach you in bold. 90% of your body is water. So if that happens to actual water drops and 90% of your body is water, imagine what the words that you are playing through your head are actually physically doing to your body. Yeah,
So you run the marathon,
yeah,
okay? And that is one of your goals, is to run the marathon. And you had mentioned prior to that, it's not about the marathon.
no, it's about being
It's
healthy.
about that healthy lifestyle choice that you made.
Yeah.
So after the marathon, what are you hoping that it instills in you if you choose not to run another marathon?
Okay, so the reason why I ran,
Or will you always be a runner?
there, I'll always be a runner,
So that'll be always your connection.
yes. But I will just always be a healthy person. I am a healthy person. I make healthy choices every single day. And because I've done it in a way where I'm pushing the boulder down the hill instead of up the hill, I actually enjoy it. See, bold isn't about lead generating so much as it is being the person who does the activities every single day because you are a rock star real estate agent. Get it? So the first time, I'm a cold caller. The first time I cold called, it was so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable. So I actually have morning habits that I do. Like I've been doing it for a long time now. I've been doing it for 4 years, and I cold called like a beast. Like the 2 bolds ago, I did a bold 100 every single day of bold and for 30 days afterwards.
How big's your database?
It's big. Right? But that's because I know I lead generate, nobody lead generates like me, but I have a ritual. And it's a subconscious ritual. So you know Pavlov's dog? Pavlov's dog, the doctor, he'd ring the bell, he'd feed the dog a treat, ring the bell, feed the dog a treat, ring the bell, feed the dog a treat. So eventually he'd ring the bell and the dog would salivate. So the dog is now being a salivating dog. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, so my ritual, I play really loud music in my car on the way to work. I walk into my office, I have Xbox headphones, I put them on my head, pace around my office. I am a lead generation machine. That is my bell. And I've done it enough times that the instinct automatically kicks in. Right? So, at first sometimes you need a system around it to support this change in value because the pull to go back is so significant. But so for me, running was I joined the running room. I had a system. They were running at this time, I went, I was a runner. Now, don't need it. Like tonight, I'm going to an event instead of going to the running room. Tomorrow morning, I'll wake up tomorrow morning and I will actually run more tomorrow on my own than I will if I was with the running room. Because I'm a runner. Just totally shakes up everything that you are. So I'm a healthy person. I eat better. I did running because I thought it was the thing that I was least capable of doing in order to blow out all my limiting beliefs, not about being a runner, but about being a healthy person. I was fat or I was healthy. So by doing that one thing, it blew out all the limiting beliefs, which allowed me to make the choices to be healthy a lot easier. It allowed me to push the boulder down the hill instead of pushing the boulder up the hill. Get it? I'm a bit of a proof is in the pudding kind of person, right? But I don't need to have a lot of pudding. I just need to run one. If you do want to get healthy, watch that movie, Brittany Runs a Marathon. She runs a block. Actually, Brad, who was in Bold with us, he came up to me afterwards. He goes, "Yeah, I've been watching your running." And I can't, because he knew me when I was like a lot heavier than I am now. And he goes, "I can't believe you're doing it." He goes, "I could never do that." I said, "That's what I said in April." He goes, "Really?" I go, "Yep." I said, "I just ran one block. I ran 1 minute." I said, "I ran 1 minute." It's really funny because he and I share a coach, and he went back to this coach who does triathlons, but anyway, she does Ironman. And he's talking to her, and he goes, "Yeah, Claire said I just need to run 1 minute." "I can do 1 minute." She goes, "Yeah, you're a runner."
Oh my God. He's gonna do it.
I don't know, apparently he talked to her again about it this week. I don't know.
He's-
Like I said, you can't do something to somebody, you can only do it with them.
He's always driving the car. How's he
He's always at Bold. Was that the guy that was there 21 times?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Oh, from Ottawa.
yeah.
He drives in from Ottawa.
From Perth.
Yeah, every time I go to Bowl, he's always
all
there.
lush.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
That time he was taking two of them at the same time.
He's taking two at the same time, yeah, he
Oh my
has.
God.
He's gonna run a marathon.
No, he sells an apartment building every time.
He runs
He's
to
full.
Toronto and then runs
I
back.
believe it. I believe it. He's the epitome. Any questions? Anything else and please feel free, like reach out anytime you like. This is not for everybody because, you know, you have to be somebody who's kind of open to some pretty wackadoodie ideas. As you can tell, I'm a very practical person. I'm a very purposeful person. So if I'm talking like soft and fuzzy like this, but I literally have not had a McFlurry in 3 years. My brother stopped biting his nails completely. He's bitten his nails since he was about 2. There was a lady there who was from Keller Williams up in Barrie. She couldn't drive on the highway. She'd have panic attacks.
What?
They stopped that day. So there are some pretty like incredible things that you can do. MAPS Transformational Coaching is entirely an LP if you want somebody to do it with you and you're looking for a way to do that. I mean, there's a lot of psychotherapists and stuff out there who they do this. You don't have to be, it's not about being broken. It's just about bringing out the best version of yourself. But MAPS Transformational Coaching does it as well. You can do it for yourself, by all means. But if you want any questions about the experience that I had, I always struggled with my big why. I couldn't figure it out, and I was like, I just don't get this, I don't get this. And then they talked about AIM, and I was like, boom, there we go. And I was so excited. So I appreciate you allowing me to share it with you. Any questions before we go?
Aim high.
Aim high. No,
No, that's what
Aim-
the book about the bow and arrow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
MRA.
But but aiming high is about hitting a bullseye, right? Like I said, this should never, it's not a finite thing. This is an infinite way of being.
Yeah.
It's an infinite way of being.
Cool.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you very much.
I will see, for those of you who are taking Bold, I will see you on Monday. You might not recognize me, I'll be in my jeans, my t-shirt, maybe baseball hat, there will be no makeup, and I'll probably have food down my shirt because I gotta drive along.
And thank you on behalf of the portfolio for taking the time out to, yeah,